G'day, I'm Samuel Gittins from Warhope Presbyterian Church. Today we're starting a series on conversations in Mark. Look, I love talking about the Bible, and one of the great books of the Bible is this book called The Good News of Mark, or the Gospel of Mark. And Mark was a contemporary of Jesus, probably a young boy or young man when Jesus was around doing his ministry. And later, Mark decides to write an account of Jesus' life. It's not a long one, it's a short one. And I thought what we'd do is just read a little bit, have a conversation about it, and think about just how the events surrounding Jesus and his ministry still matters today. Now, Mark, he wants us to understand what happened in this ancient backwater of the Roman Empire. All those years ago, what happened then still matters today. Mark's convinced that such is the power of these events, they can change us forever, even now. I'm going to read you the first sentence. Each sentence is called a verse, right? So I'm going to read the first verse of this particular book, chapter 1, sentence 1, verse 1. This is what it says. This is the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. Talk about a big claim. Who are you writing about? Oh, just God-saving King, the Son of God. This is huge. If it's true, it's huge. He's not holding back on the claim here. The author states right up, this is good news. Whatever he goes on to say happened in Jesus' life, for us, it matters. It is good news. We want to know it. We want to investigate it. We want to think about it. Okay, so this is this amazing guy called Jesus. It's a good news about Jesus, the Messiah. Now, Messiah is not a word we tend to use very much, unless it's a cheeky movie about somebody. But Messiah is basically God's saving king, the person God has sent into human history to save. Someone who's been equipped by God for a particular purpose. Someone God has set apart to do something wonderful for us. This is why it's good news. That's why it's connected with the idea of Messiah, right? And this Messiah is called the Son of God. So it's not just any saving person, but God's saving King who God's people have been waiting for. They've been expecting him. The Son of God. And also in that title, well, you could be the son of a carpenter. Jesus was. You could be the son of a royalty. That would make you a prince. But Jesus, the claim is he is the Son of the Son of God. And that's talking about big claims. This claim just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, at this point, some people grab this kind of account and just go, whatever, flick, swipe off the screen. No way. Jesus, some random from 2,000 years ago, the Messiah, God-saving King. This is meant to be good news to me 2,000 years later. Jesus, the Son of God, some divine man. And I get it. Sometimes a claim is so big, we don't bother with it. We chuck it out without a second thought. But I want you to hold on and hear me out. How many other working class, first century people have you heard about? I can't think of many. In fact, think of myself, I know a few people. I've been a teacher for over a decade. I've met lots of students over the years teaching in schools, and I've met lots and lots of people. I've had an impact on their life in many ways. I'm a parent, and I suppose my children will remember me. I hope so. My grandkids, if I'm lucky, I'm blessed that way, they will know me. And maybe if I'm super, super blessed, maybe my great-great-grandkids will know my name. So possibly by that stage it's just Pops or whatever I'm known by back then. But let's be honest. 200 years from now, the average person isn't going to know my name. As influential as I'd like to be, I'm not that important. Oh, I'm okay with that, but I'm not that important. And yet here is somebody from the backwater, the far edge of the Roman Empire, a working class man, the son of a tradesman. He was a chippy. He was a carpenter. And yet even today, he's had a massive influence on our world. So maybe there's something to this claim. I get it, it's a big claim, it's huge, but maybe there's something to it. But the bigger the claim, the bigger the evidence. And what Mark has done, he's written a recount of what he knows Jesus did. He was around at the time. He was a young man, possibly an older child at the time of Jesus' ministry, and he was around. He knew people who saw what had happened. He very likely was a part of some of what happened. He was there. And he's writing these things so that we might know for sure that Jesus really is good news for us, that what he did is good news for us. Well, he's going to present a picture of Jesus' life. And as he goes on and describes what Jesus did and what he said and how people reacted to him and how he responded to people and what they said and did, I suppose the question for us is, who do we think he is? Could he really be the Son of God? Jesus the Messiah, God's saving King? Because if he is, if we come to know this and trust this, then well, it truly does become good news. So Marky, he's got a fair bit of work to do, doesn't he? He's got to try and convince the reader that Jesus really is good news. And so he starts off with not Jesus, but with his support act. You ever been to a concert and there's been a support act before the main event? I have. I've been to a couple of concerts, but one sticks in my mind. It was in Bathurst and we got to watch the Waifs perform. Brilliant. It was fantastic. But as is often the case, there was a support act before the Waifs came on, and it was Ruby Boots, and she was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. And what's a support act meant to do? They get the crowd going, and they warm them up, and they get them clapping and cheering, and it just helps the crowd really warm up and not worry about mistakes and that sort of thing. And the support act, well, they're the support act. They're not meant to be the main act, are they? Their job is to make the main act look good, get people ready for them. And so there's this guy whose job it was to be Jesus' support act, to get people ready for Jesus. I'm going to read a bit more out of this biography of Jesus written by Mark, the Good News of Mark, what we call the Gospel of Mark. Look, it began this way, just as the prophets wrote, right? Look, I'm sending my messenger ahead of you, and he will prepare your way. His voice shouting in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord's coming, clear the road for him. You see, God has told us hundreds of years before Jesus' coming that there would be someone getting us ready for it. Someone who'd be proclaiming in the wilderness, guys, get ready, God's saving King is coming. And Mark, well, he's not bashful about it. He knows who it is. And it wasn't Ruby Boots. It is John the Baptist. Verse 4, this messenger was John the Baptist. Right? Again, unusual terms, Baptist. He got called that because he did lots of baptizing people in the Jordan River. Baptizing, dunk someone in water, pull them back out again. And what it symbolized for the person, let's have a look, see what it says, and that might give us a clue. It keeps going. John the Baptist, he was baptizing people. He was in the wilderness and preached that people should be baptized to show that they had repented of their sins and turned to God to be forgiven. And now this baptism thing starts to make sense. You see, baptism, going into the water, represents a dying to the old life. A saying, no, I'm not going to live that way anymore. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to value those things. Indeed, what's been going on is I've been living my own life, living my own way, ignoring God, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have a new life. A life where I've stopped, I've changed direction. That's what repentance means, to stop and change direction and say, you know what? I want to live for God now. I want to honour him. I want to please him. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to do my best. And that's how John the Baptist was getting people ready for God's saving King. Working in people's hearts and having people say, yes, I'm ready for God's saving King. I don't want to live my own way anymore. I want to live God's way. So all over Judea, it says, verse 5, including all the people of Jerusalem, went out to see and hear John. Mate, this guy he's a serious support act. And when they confessed their sins, he baptized them in the river Jordan. His clothes, now this guy's wild. His clothes were woven from coarse camel hair, and he wore a leather belt around his waist. For food, he ate locusts and wild honey. Bear Grylls, eat your heart out. Maybe that's where he got the ideas from. This guy was wild, but people came to him. There's something about the way he spoke, who he was. And when people heard him, they went, yes, yes, I want to stop living my old way. I want to be ready for God's saving King. Because John here announces, hey guys, verse 7, someone's coming soon, and they're greater than I am. So much greater that I'm not even worthy to stoop down like a slave and untie the straps of his sandals. Man, you guys, you think I'm the main act, he's saying to the crowds, that hundreds, thousands of people coming to see him. I'm not the main act. The main act is still to come. Get ready for him. In fact, he is so superior to me, I'm not even worthy to carry his luggage. Take the shoes off somebody in that day when the streets were also the sewer and the drainage. Ugh. I'm not even worthy to do that, he says. Take someone's shoes off. Man, this guy's amazing. How come he's so amazing? Well, listen to what he says. Last verse for our conversation today. Verse 8. John the Baptist, what does he say? Verse 8, he says, I baptize you with water, the Jordan River, right? But the guy coming, he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. God himself will move with this guy who's coming. God's presence will be upon you when you turn to him. Man, this is a total change. This is what God's been promising for a long time. Get ready. Get ready. God's saving King is coming. And God's presence is with him. God's power and his ability to make a change is coming with him. Guys, in our conversations in Mark, as we look at this gospel, this amazing account of Jesus' life, we've got to keep asking that question, who is this guy? We haven't met him yet. We've just been told he's coming. But who is he? How can he inspire a man like John the Baptist to draw crowds of thousands to get them ready for this guy? A guy from the backwater of the Roman Empire who we still know his name. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Samuel Gittins. I'm from Warhat Prezi, and it's been an absolute pleasure to start this new series, Conversations in Mark.